Hi guys, how's it going? Hope you're all doing okay. Welcome back to Gryphon Studio, and this week, finishing off the courtyard kind of theme, I've been making this kind of memorial garden grave site sort of thing. Yeah, so pretty happy with it, pretty cool. Lots of nature involved here and some candles and general creepy vibes. So let's get to it. Okay, so after much digging around in my bits box, I found this little guy here, and he's been sitting there for years now, so I figured it was about time to use him. He's already undercoated, which was handy, so I just figured I'd use him for this project, along with these Renedra gravestones. I could use foam or card or something, but these would be a bit more solid, a bit more sturdy, so I'm going to use them in this project. So with that out of the way, I grabbed a few pieces of XPS foam, around about 5mm thick, laid them up together, and we've got one layer that's kind of like an outline to the backing layer, and I just etched a few brick patterns in them and then textured them with the aluminium ball. And with that textured, I added a third and final layer of foam to this, and I'm just going to hot glue that down. And this is going to add a little bit more depth and a little bit more texture to the Gothic arch. It's going to get the same treatment in terms of brickwork and texture from the aluminium ball, and hopefully that should create a nice little sort of alcove type area for which the statue at the beginning there will sit into. And here I've added a few little steps at the base to give a little bit of height for the statue to sit into, so it looks a little bit more important. And I've added the base of XPS foam, and I've etched on where the gravestones are going to pretty much be. Before I do that though, I'm going to outline the whole piece with a brick pattern. This should hopefully allow this piece to sit in a lot of different situations, a lot of different potential encounters, because it's already got its own border, and it should hopefully fit in towns and courtyards and all sorts of different places. Now, I don't expect to be able to see a whole lot of the ground cover here, but I am going to texture it anyway, and it should help stiffen up the foam a little bit and protect it and give it a little bit more durability. So I'm using some acrylic earth texture paste, and I added a sprinkling of sand and grit to the top as well to add a little bit more of a texture to it. And then I just kind of pressed in the gravestones into the acrylic paste, and hopefully that would hold them and kind of effectively act as a glue. And when that acrylic paste was nice and dry, I just checked the stability of the gravestones before applying the undercoat to everything. I'm just going to use the typical black paint and Mod Podge undercoat for everything, get it in all those nooks and crannies, and now you've got quite a nice looking uniform piece of terrain. And I'm just going to apply the pretty typical overbrush of a medium grey. So everything that's basically stonework is going to get this treatment, and hopefully it should just help pick out all those details that I etched in before. And the inside area here is going to be more or less dirt or earth kind of colour, so I'm using game colour earth, and using a wet brush I just smear it everywhere. And with all of that base colour dry, I'm just going to add my usual black-brown wash, which is the same wash I've used on pretty much every project since I started this channel. It goes everywhere and it makes everything look nice and grimy and weathered. I also gave the same treatment to that little guy, the statue, and I positioned him with some super glue in the alcove. Now I'm going to add a little vine. I'm going to use some root that I found in the garden. This has been dried out for a very long period, so there should be nothing living on it really, and I'm just going to glue that in place, and then as I position it I'm going to add a few drops of super glue where it contacts the stonework just to really secure it in place. And then it was time to add some foliage, adding a few different colours of static grass here. I tend to use tweezers because it's going to be a little bit easier for me. And I also added a few patches of flowers, self-adhesive flowers that I got from eBay. They get quite a lot of mileage out of those things. They're really quite useful and really speed up the project. So I'm going to cover this entire earth area in front of the graves in this static grass, and then I added a few extra dots of PVA around the place so that I could add a few fallen leaves. I'm going to move on to some moss now. These are the products I'm using: Woodland Scenics Fine Turf, Burnt Grass and Yellow Grass. Mix them together, add a bit of PVA as well into a fine paste, and then just smear it all over everything. And I went all around the stonework and the statue and some of the gravestones as well. And then I added a few more leaves to the vine that was growing around this thing. And I had a few candles left over from a previous project. I thought they would be quite fitting on a memorial or grave site. So some candles went down and I painted them up whilst they were in place. I tend to paint things like candles or skulls or small items after they've already been stuck down, purely because it's just very difficult for me to hold them and paint them at the same time, since they are very, very tiny. Alright guys, so that's it, all finished. Pretty happy with it. Nice and gothic, kind of looks old and weathered and worn and like it's been there abandoned for quite some time, and yeah, it's kind of the vibe I'm going for this whole creepy courtyard situation. Again, I love adding candles to things. I love adding nature to structures to kind of set them into the environment. I think adding moss and vines and flowers and grass and things, it all adds to the immersion and to kind of like drag the structure into its setting where it's meant to be. And I mean, feasibly this could go in quite a few different places, in a town even, against a wall. The idea is that this whole thing is obviously going to sit against a wall with negative space behind it, so the whole thing would sit against a wall and look, yeah, like a little memorial garden. I'm pretty pleased with it. So that's it for this video. If you did like it, please give it a thumbs up and feel free to send me a comment as well. I'm always happy to reply to as many as I possibly can. And you know what, subscribe if you haven't already, and tell your friends and ring that little bell, and hopefully I can get more videos out to you really soon. I do have an Amazon affiliate link in the description below for several items. If you want to use them, feel free to do that. If you're in the UK only, I haven't set them up for abroad yet. And I do also have an Instagram account and a Facebook account, so you can go on there and check those out if you want to get involved on there. And I have recently set up a Patreon, which I will link in the description as well, and that is the best way that you can support the channel if you wish to do so. Every pound or dollar or euro that I get through there goes right back into buying supplies, glue, modelling supplies, foam, models, things that I can put on the channel, and hopefully I can get even more and even better videos out to you very, very soon. That's all for this one though. Thank you for stopping by. I'll see you again next time. Happy crafting.